Hi everyone, this is Julianne Victoria. Welcome to my channel. This is our weekly reading for the week of June 2nd, 2025. What advice guidance does a God, Spirit, the universe have for us for this week? Let's do one more shuffle. Much better. Okay. Oh, for this week's reading, I am using the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, just because it felt like I wanted to use it. No other reason this week. Okay. So it's a strong energy of, for some, taking your power back, and others stepping into your power. And I'll get more in details what that means as we go through. But at the bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Swords. Yeah, this feels like a battle within. Maybe that's why I chose this deck. We have to fight our own thought patterns, beliefs we held, other people's beliefs we've just blindly followed along with. Because there's a realization this week, and I think maybe most watching this have already come to this realization, and now it's time to really do the dirty work. Yeah, the realization that, oh, I've been like doing this thing or saying such and such or just living my life in a certain way because I always just thought that that's what you're supposed to do or how people thought. And so it's like discovering a form of conditioning. Not that there was malintent in the conditioning. Often like, parents, grandparents, they just pass on their own thought patterns to their descendants. They're not thinking, it's conditioning. But there's like a conditioning where like, you know what? Why do I do this? Or why do I act this way? Or why do I say these things? They're not actually what I feel or what I think or believe. And so it's deep inside, we've got to cut it all away. And yeah, it does feel like we're aware of this to some degree or another. It's not something out of the blue. It's not like, where is this coming from? Some of us may already have been working on this quite a bit. You could call this, shadow work for those who are really deep diving. But it's this shift within is going to change our lives. Okay, so the first card in my mini cross spread here is the card that represents us or the viewer this week, and we are the Eight of Wands. We've got our arrow ready. We're ready to knock this out of us. And what really, really jumps out at me is the red hair. We are fired up about this internal change, this inner process. You can even say we are already on target, or that feeling of really getting on target on what those inner beliefs, thought patterns, behaviors are, comes about this week. But we are on target, and we're going to hit the bullseye in the realization of really, really what it is or what else it is. We need to knock out. We need to cut out. So we are on target. Now the card that surrounds us, so again, we are the fiery Eight of Wands, is the devil, called the Shadow Dance in this deck. So yeah, I don't feel like this is someone external. It's our challenge, because this is very much an inner, in our hidden realms reading this week. We need to face the things we fear. We need to face the whys. Why do I have this belief? Or why am I afraid to change this belief? Or why have I held on to that thought or behavior? You're on target, you know it, you see it, you're ready to obliterate it, but we need to address those questions. Our own fears, our own desires to hang on to something. Like, if I stop thinking this way or believing this thing, will I lose somebody or something in my life? And that's a valid question, and it may not happen. But this is the you, me, the individual's development here. And you can choose to just keep on believing what you really don't believe in, or, whatever it might be. But then the energy of how this plays out won't happen, right? There's always free will. But I think we are so ready. We are so fired up to be like, you know what? I don't need to believe this that I was taught to believe, and I just went along with it, and it controls my life in some way. Maybe the realization is like, oh, that controls what I do and say, but I don't feel that in my heart, or whatever it might be. We are going to face this. We are going to dance with our own shadows to understand them and to embrace them so they don't control us. Okay. Now, crowning the reading in the mind position, we have the Emperor. And this is really us, coming into our power, embracing our power, however it is for you. Really realizing that each of us is the authority, is the emperor in our lives. We are in charge of our own thoughts. Okay, so last week's reading, now I know the connection. Last week's reading was something was no longer renting space in our heads for free. And this is totally coming off of that. We are in charge of our own thoughts. We are in charge of our own beliefs and most of our own behaviors. There's often some subconscious things going on. Not, good behaviors we've been taught, like you should brush your teeth, right? Those are fine. But ways we treat people or treat ourselves, especially, or how we allow other people to treat us. Realize, what? I have some power in this. I could walk away. I could say no. I could not repeat the belief I've held on that I don't agree with. We are in our own power. Okay. Now below in the physical realm, it's also energy that is like moving out this week. We have the 5 of Cups. So a card of disappointment. Look at all those selkies, the water horses. Is it selkie or kelpie? It's one of those. We've been disappointed in ourselves, and by doing this process and understanding why, the shadow dance, we can move away from this sort of energy of being hard on ourselves or even disliking ourselves, being disappointed with ourselves. Also seeing that our projection of disappointment onto other people has really been about ourselves. We will move through that and beyond it as we focus on this target, this personal inner target, as we step into our power. And most of it is just realizing, hey, I could say no. I don't have to beat myself up. I don't have to project that on someone else and be like, why did they say this? Blah, 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 blah. And realizing, you do the same thing. All right. In the past position, interesting, we have the Page of Swords. And it's interesting how her sword is down. Often in the page, they're holding the sword up. I think in the past we've been sort of aware of this. Yes, sometimes, but many times not. And we haven't taken a stance. That's why her sword is down. But now we are. Because from this, we go to this. We've got our weapon ready. We're ready to slay this dragon, basically. Okay, our future card, the outcome card, is the Ace of Wands. It'll bring in new energy, and it's wands, fiery energy, the fox. New energy, clever energy, in a positive way. Not trickery, but seeing things like a fox does. but it will change your life. Do this inner work, continue it. Doesn't just, it takes years usually inner work, but like it's highlighted right now. Do this inner work and it will lead to new and better things. Yeah, I do want to say we'll see things and behaviors of others and thoughts of others more clearly, likely because we will have gone through this process ourselves. Okay, so then I lay 3 more cards of what's beyond the future or adding to the future. So we have the Ace of Wands, and then we have the 6 of Wands, which is a card of success, more fiery red hair there. Success, triumph, and recognition. Someone will recognize the shift. Some people may not like it, right? But where it's important, it will be noted. Okay, and I do feel like this could go on for a while. This beyond energy. Then we have the 7 of Cups. So a card of choices, options. Yeah, we will make some more changes. We will make changes in our physical lives, in our external lives as a result of this, which is quite normal. And that's obviously part of the new beginning there. Not only will we see things more clearly, see our own behaviors more clearly, because it's not like it just, done and gone and that's it, right? But with that new awareness, we will make some new decisions to change our lives for the better. And then we have the 9 of Swords. And this feels like the unhappy people, the people who are like, you don't think exactly like me, like a zombie drone or whatever. Why are you different? So the people who can't handle others, who don't think exactly like they do, who can't handle non-clones of themselves. So I'm sure those who understand it, who can't be friends with people who aren't exactly like them, are going to be, I'll say, grumpy monkeys. And you just have to let them be. They have given their power away. They let everything rent free in their heads. But us, we are stepping into our power. We are freeing ourselves from the chains of our inner demons, our inner shadows, and instead embracing them and understanding them so they don't turn us into those clone zombies. Okay. Yeah, very empowering energy, very positive, mainly inner work, right? Some external results may already be noticed depending on if you're someone who's already clear on this realization and working on it, or it's really coming to awareness this week or around this time. Okay, that is our reading for this week of June 2nd, 2025. Thank you everyone for being here. Have a wonderful week.